Welcome, everyone. This is Pilot Mules, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at latest and LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week, I am joined by Cinders.
Hello.
At least I think I'm joined by Cinders.
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Hello, everyone. And this week, we are going to have a little bit more discussion relating to the Lore Master. But first, let's head into the news for this week. And we'll begin with the initial reports on how things are going with the legendary worlds, the two new worlds, Angmar and Mordor, which are running the new legendary system with the ring raids and all that stuff, and the lesser raids coming in there and killing players very often before they're level 20, which means that if you're going to play on that server, that time could mean a little bit more than it usually does.
Ooh. Well, I mean, it's a good thing if you like it, but I would not be happy about
that. Yeah, Cordovan lost it very, very quick as soon as he hit level 10 when those raids start spawning.
Oh, man.
He was learning that.
Go ahead, I was going to say, that's really rough.
Yeah, he apparently was learning that the Lore Master apparently doesn't start to get stable until level 20.
Huh.
At least, because he said he felt a bit weak at the beginning, and there it wasn't until level 20 where he started to feel that the power curve was where he was able to survive.
Yeah. Oh no, Mary Rose said she died escorting Old Sally in the Shire. Old Sally survived better than Mary Rose did.
Yeah, actually, I think that came up last week. You know that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Old Sally. Yes, being. So yes, you get to level 10, and all sorts of weird things could happen as those raids start popping up out of nowhere. I'd see what happens because I've got a character that's late 8 or early 9 in there. So I'm getting close to that level where we'll start to get company when things go wrong. But anyway, mostly things are going right over there, but they do notice a few glitches relating to the 64-bit tech in there. So they did have to have a couple of restarts and another maintenance cycle on the server in there. I'm sure that they're going to have a couple of tweaks to the servers when they have the patch next week so that maybe things will be better. And I'm sure they're using whatever data they get out of these servers for when they bring the 64-bit tech onto the other servers in here. So, yes, in addition to being two legendary worlds, there are also two legendary guinea pigs, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And also, concerning other things, it looks like the hardtack event went through its entire course without being shut down.
That's impressive.
That's impressive, yes. A successful crafting event, I'm sure that is. Now, they did find a few things that have been reported in there where they want to do some tweaks to have things improved so that the next time it comes up, everything will be better on there. For one thing is that they've tried to have things working once an hour for each of the events. But it was once an hour based on the internal clock. So it's 1 hour forward from whenever they had the previous one. They're planning on changing it so it will be instead at the top of the hour. That means if there's downtime or something like that, they come back up, it'll reset back to the top of the hour instead of trying to be 1 hour based on its internal clock.
Okay.
I think a lot of people are getting confused as to when it was supposed to start and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think even the game was getting confused on a couple of occasions. So it said, all right, they're going to set it to be at the top of the hour, and they're hoping that will be more successful than that. But if the time of start is the biggest thing they can say, and plus 1 or 2 items about the timing of some things, then I would say that sounds more successful than what happened when they first tried the Foresters event.
Right?
Yep. And on Wednesday, during the normal town time, they are planning to have a release of update 41.1. It's to fix various issues that they found with update 41, probably to have a couple of tweaks to the hardtack event, so that'll be ready next time. And also wanting to take care of the known issues that we read when we read through the release notes last week. So hoping up to fix a few things so that everything will be nice and ready for next time in there. But one of the things they also noted, of course, is that on Wednesday when the servers do come back up, we will have the 11th legendary reward track season will start. So that means that if you are still working on your rewards for the 10th season, have them all gathered and claimed by the downtime starting on Wednesday. So probably by Tuesday night, you're probably going to want to claim anything that you would, or at least far enough along that you don't miss anything massive. Because you don't want to be at 99 and have an unclaimed 100 in there, and then you'll miss your lion if you did that.
Wait, there was a lion?
Yeah, that's the reward
Man,
for level 100.
I don't think I'm going to get there.
How far are you away?
I don't know. I would have to look.
Okay, I have to look. Okay, we will check after the show and see how close you
Yes.
are,
Let's say
and see.
I have to pick a character I can log in on that actually has enough space to get it in the inventory too. So
Well, there is that problem.
yep. So make sure you do it on a character with the inventory to get it. So
All right, you got a point there. But for someone who has need of all those rewards that you're going to be pulling in
yeah, I think Cinders is gonna need them as we keep leveling her. I think she's gonna need the
as we keep
stuff.
leveling in it, right? Because you were about 120.
I think she clicked into 124 today.
Okay, 124.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, so that means that.
So she's gonna need to
Yeah.
upgrade her legendary items here in a few levels and all those things. And
Right. And when she gets to 131, of course, there's an entire new set.
yep. So as I think they're pretty good for right now, but I would again with the changes have to go in and look at it a little more carefully.
Right.
Because that's where it's gonna make a difference. So
Okay. Then let's head into the store sales then. And anything interesting on sale this week?
well, this is your final weekend to get the Mirkwood Patrons Coffer. It is available in the LOTRO store through August 11th. You can read more about it on lotro.com. The Middle Earth Venturing Pack is also available for a limited time, and you can learn more about that offer on the LOTRO store but that one is available through the 25th of August. And also, you can go ever on and get 20% off of select XP boosts, enhance XP supply, 100% mark acquisition boosts through August 15th. And the weekly coupon is a free plus 20% mount speed for 6 hours with a coupon code TOPGEARED, TOPGEARED, no spaces, also through August 15th.
All right, that's very nice then. But apparently free mount speed steeds, but no Shire Plum cosmetics for you.
No Shire Plum cosmetics for me. I'm still advocating for them. Sans is of the opinion that I should write a letter thanking them for considering it and knowing that they're working hard on making it happen eventually.
Oh.
I was like, well, we'll see. I was looking to see if they had like an email or a way to contact them with suggestions, like a suggestion box. I did not find anything like that for Standing Stone. So this is my current method of promoting Shire Plum Dye for War Steeds.
Okay. Then let's then continue our discussion with the Lore Master. Last week we discussed the general updates with, as we also read through all the rest of the release notes that are in there. But I said that we were going to save the individual lines for their own episodes in there because I'm sure that we're going to have plenty of things to talk about for each of these.
Oh, yes.
And we are going to begin with the blue line, the keeper of animals.
Yes.
This tree focuses explicitly on your summoned pet, centered mainly on buffing and supporting your pet, allowing your pet to deliver most of your damage output. These changes represent a fairly major change to the Keeper of Animals and are intended to better differentiate the playstyle of this specialization from the Master of Nature's Fury playstyle. So, in other words, they're trying to make the blue and red lines as different from each other as possible.
I mean, it sort of makes sense, except when you realize that you can uh, dip into that line and turn your line different colors.
Mixing paint, so to speak.
Yes. So, like, my lore master, when I respect her today, I did all of the things in blue line, and then I dipped into red line, and honestly, I haven't noticed a huge difference running through Imlan Morgul, which is on level content for her. All the quests are white or yellow. And so I think that it'll be interesting to keep playing with her and seeing how it plays out. I just know, like, at the moment, I wasn't really noticing a huge difference. But that could also be my play style, too. So,
Well, I have a feeling that the blue line is probably not as impacted by these changes as the other lines are.
I think so, because I noticed they've renamed some of the skills, but, like, your pets still have their little pet bar and they still behave like your pets. Um, so I don't know. But I play with a bear, so I will
Uh,
leave that up front. I had a bear with me, and
okay,
those are pretty good in general um, for helping with that kind of stuff.
right. Next, gain access to stronger animal companions with unique skill sets. That sounds like advertisement speak.
Yep, some of us don't
Specialized,
care.
but
we just some of us don't care what their specialty is. We just pick a favorite.
yes,
I like my
special.
bear because it's a little polar bear, and I worked hard to get
Uh,
my little tundra cub.
oh yeah, yes, the tundra cub. In fact, when I made my lore masters on my Hobbit lore masters, I very very quickly found a mithril trader
Yeah,
who would sell me the tundra cub because I just could not run around because that's like when they opened up lore master to hobbits. I said no, there is no way in the world I was going to go on with the Ursa Major running behind me.
right.
So yeah, so I got the tundra cub, and yeah, that's what I tended to use on. And that's the reason why I had avoided for a long time the bog guardian,
Mm-hmm.
is because the bog guardians were just so huge. Even though my human and elven lore masters, they tended to use bog guardians, but I just couldn't use it because it was just so huge. So I was quite happy when they released the smaller bog guardians, the juvenile bog guardians, so that you go around with the bog guardian that wasn't in your face or anything like that.
Yeah. And I should clarify when I say that I worked hard to get it, I think I just made good friends, but it took a while to get it. It wasn't like straight out of the gate I got it. But I
Okay.
really wanted it and I
You
got it. And
really
so I
wanted
still
it.
use it. Yes.
Very well. Specializing in the Keeper of Animals tree will reduce your outgoing damage by 33% to help account for the additional damage that is dealt by your pet. So, in other words, you do less damage, but your pet does more damage.
Yeah. And like I said, I didn't really feel it today when we were playing.
All right. All offensive and damaging pet skills now have some amount of inherent bonus to threat.
Excellent.
All right. For minor pet skills, all with the 20-second cooldown, is for the bear, they have a single target stun as their minor skill. And I guess something that they did put here is that, well, that's right, because I think they said in the general areas that, of course, now you have a minor pet skill and a major pet skill, and you can interact them with on your main controls area. So you hit
Yes.
the minor skill, they'll do whatever the minor skill to your pet is. And hit major skill, it'll do whatever's in there.
Yes.
But anyway, it's a 20-second cooldown for the minor skill. So bears, yeah, single target stun. I'm sure you like that one.
I think I used it without meaning to, actually. Uh, so when I respec, it still had like all of the slots saved from before. And so it
Right?
slotted as much into that as it could, and then it slotted other stuff in. And with the exception of having to remove my dismiss pet from my main toolbar, I mean, things fell in a relatively reasonable location. So, like, I could just do my usual 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 was my minor pet skill, followed by 6, which was my major pet skill. And so when I'm playing, I just go across, and whatever is off cooldown gets used. Um, and so, like I said, I think it might be partly my play skill why I'm not really feeling a difference, just because it's just, you know, whatever
Button
is off
mashing.
cooldown is what happens. And yeah, so I do button mash with all of my players. The trick,
All right. Yeah.
just get all of them in the right order so that it makes sense and you look like you know what you're doing.
Well, I think the reason why I play blue line is because so if I don't know what I'm doing, at least my bear is doing, or I should say my pet's doing damage while I'm trying to think, now what should I do next?
Right? Or they're pulling threat off you so you're not just getting squished.
Yeah,
Um,
there's also that. Because I was doing some testing today with the with my blue line in there. So usually what I do is I send in my pet to attack first to get their attention in there. Then, well, send might be the wrong word considering that on my higher level, my capped lore master, I was running with the bog guardian. So the bog guardian just stays put and then spits at them or whatever the bog guardian does.
I think it hits them with its roots. I think it sends roots through the ground.
Yeah, okay, sending route. So I guess that I was going to say it makes sense, but no, it really doesn't make sense. But at least it's consistent with the behavior of the mobs that you run into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have trouble understanding routes that go quickly through the ground and smack something.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, for the Raven, plus 5% mitigations to the Lore Master for 30 seconds. For the Eagle, minus 40% speed and damage over time. Minus 40% speed and damage over time. I will presume that the target gets debuffed in by whatever that amount is, I presume. For the Bog Lurker, does damage over time, so it puts on a dot when you do the minor skill on there.
Mm-hmm.
For the Lynx, a more potent damage over time. And for big cats, an area of effect damage over time. So it looks like that the last three, they all had to do some variation of damage over time then. Now you'll notice in here they do not mention the spirit animal, and that's because Blue Line does not get access to the spirits. They get they get access to all the other pets, and they have more access to the other pets, to the ones that do damage than anyone others. But the spirits, that is handled by, I believe, Yellow Line, so that they could help to heal.
Yes.
And Sam says that the Ball Guardians are like a Swamp Thing of DC Comics.
I have no idea what the swamp thing is. I'm sorry, guys.
And they're
So,
saying that the powers of the Bot Guardian are consistent with not the body build. So, all right. Now we have the Sign of the Wild Rage, which is a specialization bonus for the blue line. Grants the skill Sign of the Wild Rage, a pet skill that causes your pet to make devastating attacks against its target with a 15-second cooldown. After using this command skill, your elemental skills will reduce the active cooldown of Sign of the Wild Rage by 2 seconds. This means that active skill makes Sign of the Wild Rage available again more quickly. Now, I must admit that unless I'm thinking about the Sign of the Wild things, I keep on forgetting to use them. Of course, the entire point of the Sign of the Wild things is to help your pet do more damage so that your overall output is greater. But yes, I do have a habit of forgetting those Signs of the Wild, so I need to work with that as I go along.
yeah, I don't know that I ever like intentionally use them. I think it's
Ah,
more that it just if they're in that rotation, they get used. Um, Rather than me being like, I need a sign of the wild.
yeah. And then they also list Sign of the Wild Protection is a specialization bonus, grants a skill that helps your pets shield themselves from harm. This command skill has a 2-minute cooldown, and individual pet effects are like the bear, which has 75% damage negation plus 25% incoming healing. So the bear becomes more durable, which is good because the bear tends to be a tanky type. So it's probably taking a great deal of damage. I mean, you're hoping the bear's taking the damage and not you, right?
Right.
Yes. And the Raven, plus 100% evade chance, plus 25% shadow mitigation. So, in other words, they become hard to hit. For the Eagle, 25% damage negation provides Eagle's sacrifice. Due to persistent issues with the old sacrifice mechanic, this effect has been replaced by one that prevents the lore master from being defeated. If the lore master receives a death blow, they will instead restore some morale and lose this protection. Okay. So instead of you instead of you being defeated and then being restored by the eagle, instead the eagle prevents you from being defeated in the first place.
Yeah.
I think that's a step up.
Yeah.
Of course, you need to remember to set it up and stuff like that, but that's an entirely different matter.
Yes.
Yes. Bog Lurker, minus 50% incoming range damage, crowd control immunity. So, in other words, they debuff ranged targets. I guess that's consistent with what's going on in there. Oh, okay. So the Bog Lurker becomes harder to hit effectively. All right. And small cats, minus 100% perceived threat, potent heal over time. So definitely not what you want to use if you are trying for the cat to be and for your pet to be a tank. But if you're in a raid and you want the cat not to be attracting too much attention from anyone else, then yeah, that'd be great for the links.
Yeah.
And big cats restores morale every time the pet is attacked.
Okay, I kind of love that.
Well, considering that they do AoE attacks, I can imagine that could be quite often if they rile enough opponents.
Right? It's like, hit me with your best shot. Yes. Hit me. Hit me more. The pain just fuels me.
The pain just fuels me, yes. The wild sigils of frost, fire, and lightning each tier up buffs on your active pet with a 12-second duration, up to 5 tiers maximum. Wild frost has times zero point 0.9 incoming damage, so minus 10% per tier. Wildfire is times 1.15 outgoing damage, so it's plus 15% per tier. And Wild Lightning plus 5% run speed, minus 10% attack duration, and plus 1% critical chance per tier. Right? The wild ones, I'm starting to work with the wild ones. I didn't realize they have all these buffs that they put upon your pets though when you use them. So that's something I need to learn about a little bit while I'm going on there. I tend mainly to use them for their effects on the opponent. All right. Now, Keeper of Animal Specialization Traits. Inner Flame, formerly known as Kindred Flame, grants the skill Inner Flame. Inner Flame now transfers 15% of threat to your pet with each pulse. Inner Flame no longer tiers up a damage buff for you or your pet. So, in other words, it's more of a defensive thing now,
Yeah, I
which
don't
which,
use it very
which makes
often.
sense. Yeah. Well, I said that you when I need to do some very rapid healing, especially since that until this update, my my lower level lore master didn't have access to water lore, so
Yeah, that would make
it's pretty.
sense.
Yeah, it was my most common healing to have, and that was of course before Catmint became a heal mainly. Though Catmint, of course, heals your pet, not you. Or is it not called Catmint? It's called is it called it's called Petmint or
Catmint.
I, I know it's a play on the name Catmint, but I can't remember exactly what it was called. All right. Naturally armed, formerly Raven's Protection. Sign of the Wild protection applies to arms to your raid group. Does not stack with captains to arms or the Mariner's West Wind.
It's
So in other
Catmint.
words, oh, it is Catmint.
Yep, the
Okay.
wiki says it's Catmint.
All right.
Dane's
Battle
playing
knowledge.
catnip.
Oh, you're right. Right. Catnip is the real world item. You're right. See, I'm getting so used to the lore master stuff, I'm forgetting what the reality stuff is. For battle knowledge, formerly critical coordination, which is now in the trait tree, grants the skill battle knowledge, which allows you to create an area on the ground that gives allies plus 25% outgoing damage. Does not stack with Captain Standards of War or Mariner's Call, the Baroners of War.
All right, I'm gonna pull
Oh
a
yeah,
Krister. Boo! Okay.
yeah. That's another one that I kept on forgetting about today. Bolstered Bond merged with the old tutelage of the Brown Wizard. And the old Bolstered Bond and tutelage of the Brown Wizard's bonuses, which are all passive bonuses to your pet stats, have been merged into a single trait. And tutelage of the Brown Wizard, Wizard Sigils now have your pet additional bonuses when at their max ranks. Fire provides plus 50% Sign of the Wild Rage's critical chance. Frost provides an additional 5 seconds of duration to Sign of the Wild protection effect durations. And Lightning provides crowd control immunity. Now, I have not found anywhere in here The major pet skills are
Um,
are the the major pet skills are the same for all of them. Okay, so the minors vary by your line, but the majors are the same for all of them. It's just that, of course, with most of them, since most of the lines don't have deep access into all of the pets, the major skills will have a bigger effect to the blue line. So let me go through the major pet skills again. I know I read them last week, but it'll probably tell us a little bit more about how they compare. Or first of all, they do give one for the spirit on the majors that's since it covers all the pets for the majors. And the spirit is area of effect heal over time, which is okay, what you expect, I guess, from that. For the bear, all right, so we said that the minor for the bear was a single target stun. So now for the major, it is a bear's challenge, a force taunt without copy that target up to 10 enemies in the area of effect with a 5-second cooldown. So yes, it's a force taunt in there with a huge number of enemies all at once. So yeah, that the major can be rather useful, I'm sure, if you remember to use it. And you use the bear a lot more than I do, I suspect.
yeah, I don't know that I
Uh,
ever intentionally trigger those skills on them.
okay, well,
If that makes sense. Like, if it happens, it's pretty
it
accidental.
happens. Yeah, all right.
Unless,
Understood.
let's say, if I'm in a raid, what I do is I practice with Fineor first,
Right.
who has some really good insight into how to like lay everything out and rotations and stuff. And then he'll tell me before we start whatever we're doing, you need to know where this skill, and this skill are. And then whoever's leading the raid will, I'll be like, okay, what do you want me to do? And then they'll be like, use this skill on this person, and this skill on this person, and this skill on this person. I'm like, okay. So then I make sure that I know where those are before I go into it. But that's the only time that it's really like intentional.
Okay. Then let's go into the Raven. Now, the Raven was plus 5% mitigations to the Lore Master for 30 seconds.
Which is pretty
Uh,
nice.
and for the Raven, for the Major, is Fear No Darkness. This is an area of effect cleanse and modest heal for the Fellowship. An area of effect cleanse. Oh, I could see some fights where that could be really useful. If cleanse means what I think it means. I'm assuming that cleanse means to get rid of things like potable items that are on you.
Maybe, I don't know.
All right. For the eagle, I said minus 40% speed and damage over time was what I said. It had the eagle on there. And for the eagle, for the major, it's frontal attack of effect that burns enemies and tears up burning embers if present. So it's very defensive on the minor and very damaging on the major on there. All right. For the Bog Guardian, it is damage over time, which is why I said for the minor. And for the major, it's bursting root fellowship maneuver. Oh yeah, that's the fellowship maneuver skill for the bog lurker, which could trigger a fellowship maneuver. And these days, that's worth more than it was back when was it a year ago when fellowship maneuvers were. What are they? For small cats, we talked about the minus 100% perceived threat, potent heal over time. So in other words, they heal and they become invisible. And the major is high damage area of effect attack. Okay, in other words, it comes out of stealth and goes whack. And then for feline stalkers, actually the oh no, sorry, that was the almost read the wrong line there. Yes, okay. For big cats, area of effect damage over time. All right. And then for the major, it's area of effect strike tears up to 5% damage per target hit for 20 seconds. Okay, so it's an even bigger area effect one that tears up. All right. Okay, so those are the major and minor. So now we can go back to where I was heading before, where we talked about the specialization trait. So now let's go in. Oh, anything you want to say about anything I've said so far before we go into the trait tree?
I don't know.
Do we take that as a no?
I don't know.
Okay, so let's go into the trait tree then. First off, at the first two items, we have potent sigils with 4 ranks of this, whereas plus 5 to 30% wizard's sigil damage, so it increases the damage you do with your wizard sigils. Then with hunting instinct, formerly wild rage, now gives an additional 5% call to pet damage per rank. And unwearied companions. Newly summoned pets get a temporary damage bubble for 10 seconds. Subsequent ranks increase the potency of this bubble. So that means, I'm sure you've noticed that whenever you summoned your pets, you're now seeing this green bubble around them.
I'm not seeing the green bubble. I'm seeing the. So you know how when we get a bubble around us, it'll give us like a little purple section in our bar. I noticed that
Okay,
my bear, when I summoned him, had that bar as well. It was just on the opposite side of it because of the way their names work and their
right.
things go. Um, I did notice that, but it will give you up to 200% bubble around them. And so I fully traded that one.
Okay, yes. And I guess because the way my graphics are set up, I do actually see a bubble appear around them whenever I summon them. And prepared materials reduces pet summoning induction times by 20% per rank. Also reduces call to pet cooldown from minus 10 seconds to minus 45 seconds based on rank. All right, we can't complain about that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Friend of Lurkers grants the skill Friend of Lurkers as well as the ability to summon Bog Lurkers. So, in other words, that's how you get access to it. So, if you aren't blue line, then you could dip into blue a little bit in order to be able to summon some of these pets in here. So, this is the start of the series of traits that can be gotten to help you some of the other ones. And so each of them is a tier further down that you go after this. So the bog lurkers are the first of them that you can access. The bog guardian reminds me of me in the late teens, but with less legs. I had growth spurt, which gave me the balance sense of goofy before my brain adapted to my new height. Oh well,
I am sure you are not alone in that sentiment, Sam.
yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of teenagers who have run through that.
Right? I just keep thinking about the boys who between ninth and 10th grade, like they'd go away for the 3 months of summer break and they'd come back and they're like a foot taller. I'm just always like, wow. Like that has to be hard. But that's why I'm like, I'm sure you're not the only one who's gone through that, Sam.
Yeah, I am pretty sure a lot of people have gone through that.
Oh yeah.
Prepare for war. Incoming pet damage when executing player commands is reduced by an initial 5% per rank. Pet mastery from this trait has been replaced by pet damage directly. Wild Alacrity increases wild sigil durations by 3 seconds per tier. This trait is only available when specializing in Keeper of Animals slash Blue Line. So so they have something special that keeps you from putting points into it if you're not specializing then. I wonder how they manage that.
I'm wondering if it's down the side of the trait tree.
Down the side of the trait tree.
Yeah, or if it's far enough into the line that you wouldn't see it.
Well, no, I don't think it's far enough down the line because the next one is Friend of Eagles, and I'm pretty sure that if you work hard enough, you can get Friend of Eagles. And I think they're on the same line. So I suspect that there must be a must be specializing or something like this. Maybe do it. I guess we have to look at it.
Yeah,
I
is
didn't.
it? I was wondering though if it goes down the left hand side where you have to like
Well, the
fully
left hand
trait into
side,
the line.
yeah, but the left hand side things aren't things that you put points into. So those are the items that we discussed earlier. The specialization traits. This is in the tree itself. Hmm. Okay, now we're going to have to go and check that out because I didn't think about checking that when I was playing the Lore Master earlier today. So next is Friend of the Noble Birds grants you skill Friend of Eagles, as well as the ability to summon lesser noble birds. In other words, you're able to summon an eagle. And of course, that does have a prerequisite of the Bog Guardian one. So the pets of them, they do go in line, say this one requires this one, requires this one. Next, Don't Touch Him grants the skill Retribution. This trait is unavailable when specializing in Nature's Fury slash Redline. All right, so they must have special on-off switches, so probably a red thing that pops up if an anti-requisite for it or something like that. Retribution damage and stuns your target and reduces the active cooldown of Beacon of Hope by 3 seconds. Retribution increases the potency of your wizard sigils for 4 seconds, making them an area effect and causing them to apply the maximum tier to their corresponding wild sigil buffs. Retribution has a 60-second cooldown, and critical hits of your pet will reduce Retribution's active cooldown. And of course, I always forget to use this one. Catmint now restores your pet's morale over time and removes 5 potable effects from your pet. This trait is unavailable when specializing in Nature's of Fury Redline. It removes 5 potable effects from your pet. Wow, that's really something you want to use if your pet is really in trouble. Friend of Feline Hunters grants the skill Friend of Hunters as well as the ability to summon big cats. Loyalty allows your pet to leech threat from you with a sacrifice to morale. This trait now has only 2 ranks. After Battle Treat now has only 2 ranks. An Unbreakable Bond grants the Eponymous skill. This trait is unavailable when specializing in Nature's of Fury Redline. An Unbreakable Bond causes incoming pet damage to be converted 10-1 to your pet's power while preventing your pet from BPEing. Unbreakable Bond also redirects healing from your lore master to the pet while active, and this skill has a 1-minute cooldown. And finally, Murder of Crows now increases your target's incoming damage by 25%.
I'll say that's a win.
So,
Oh,
so that's the blue line.
yeah, and Sam says now you can get the saber tooth much earlier in the game.
Even though it's at the end of the tree. In other words, it used to be even.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it had to be at a. It must have had a very high minimum level or something like that. If you're able to get a lot earlier in the game, with it being in there, with being tied to the trait trees and getting up to, because I think it's the last line before the ultimates when they come in, because that's why it would showed up so late in there. Where is it next? Well, hold on. No, it's possible that's not the next to last, but the antepenultimate one instead. All right. Unfortunately, there isn't a pretty tree that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the release notes over here because I'm not in game right now because I'm currently recording a podcast for some reason. So, what do you say? Any comments on your attempts to run the Lore Master this week?
Well, I only attempted it today, and it went pretty well. Um, I wasn't noticing too much of a difference, but we are working on bringing a special guest on to talk a little bit more about it. And I will keep playing it and see how that goes. So that's
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, John, just get to the bottom row and you can unlock all three pets in the tree. Yes. That's just about it. All you gotta do is you can get to the end of the tree. Well, you don't even have to get to the end of the tree. You get almost to the end of the tree is all you have to do. Anyway, I did run the lore master both on a lower level lore master and a capped level lore master in there. And I found that I am able to run reasonably well, though it was a little shaky at first and trying to learn the differences in the class. Because I have to remember, okay, what are these skills? Okay, make sure I'm doing this skill, making sure I'm sitting in the pet at the right time or something like this. Because I think I would sometimes do things a little bit differently in the past where I would often attack first, then send in my pet, or let my pet just go in naturally based on my doing the attack to them. And now I'm more likely to say, okay, you start the battle and then I will start my stuff. That's what I've been doing more lately instead. So I was doing that with my lower level lore master, tried a skirmish or two on there, and I've also been doing some landscape work because I'm currently questing in the early stages of Rohan over there. Now, my capped lore master, I did play several of them because I did my trait tree today. I was mainly blue. I went into red deep enough in order to get Lightning Storm. And I did take Bane Flare from the yellow line, though I haven't actually used Bane Flare. Well, I might have used it once. The problem with Bane Flare is its range is trash. It just has this really, really short range in there. So it's not like Blinding Flash, which has this really, really long range. Bane Flare has this tiny, tiny range in there. So it's not like something you could use in order to mez someone right at the start or anything like that. It's probably why I never got used to using it or something like this. But I do have Lightning Storm, and I just love using a Lightning Storm. So my Capped Lore Master is using that and is liking that as usual. But as for the blue line stuff, I do have pretty much everything in blue line all nice and set up in there. I've been using the Bog Guardian for today's run in there because I've always had a liking for the Bog Guardian because of the ranged ability. And now that I can get short ones, I don't have to worry about the Bog Guardian getting in the way or anything like that, which is a big problem I had with the full size Bog Guardian. and I ran a few instances, including a couple of skirmishes, but I also ran the Isle of Storms. The reason why I ran the Isle of Storms is because I remember the Lore Master is a class that I found to be relatively easy in doing the Isle of Storms, while my other classes, they were just getting ripped to pieces in it. So I said, all right, can I complete the Isle of Storms with the new Lore Master? And yes, I did successfully complete the instance without dying in the time period. So I think that means I'm starting to get used to the class because that was the last thing that I ran. Oh, with that character before today's show in there. So yeah, I think I'm starting to get the hang of the new Lore Master, but I know that there are a few things that I still haven't gotten around to using, and I named them during it where I was talking about still not quite using the Signs of Wild right, and still not using optimally the sigils. So I still need to get better on those. And a few other items in there that I think I said during the time that maybe I could still use a little bit work on so I could use them optimally so I could do more damage into it. But at least I'm starting to work. And that's a work in progress. And you said that you're starting to get the hang of it, or do you feel that you need a lot more work before you'll be ready?
I don't know that I'll need a lot more work. I think I probably just need to keep playing her.
Yeah. All right. We'll see what we could do that. Now, next week, we can go over the red line. So let's see if I can remember to play the red line because now I got to trade into the red line and see how I like that because I haven't ever played a red line lore master as far as I can recall.
Oh, Pine Leaf, the power of burning things down with lightning and fire. If you weren't a pyromaniac, you will become one. In game only. But there is
Oh, okay.
something immensely fulfilling about just lighting the entire area up. And it's even better if you do it with a runekeeper and you're both in, like, one of you's in fire and one of you's in lightning. And oh, it's glorious. It's
Oh, well,
amazing.
my rune keepers are in lightning, so I think that's where I usually get my lightning thing. Except for as I said, I like my lore masters to have lightning storm. So I I'm already a little bit into the red line, but I've never had done the full red line as a specialization tree. So I'm sure that will give me some interesting things to check out next week, assuming I remember.
So Cinderina has a red line specifically for running with one of Sansa's characters, Calandrian. So
Yeah.
Sansa's Calandrian is a runekeeper in lightning mode, and then I run Cinders in full red line. And we have like a playlist that we put on whenever we go and do stuff on these two characters together. And it's got like Ring of Fire, We Didn't Start the Fire, like all those. We actually like we put the playlist on and we're like, yeah, burn it down.
Oh boy.
It makes for great Saturday afternoon activities with just the two of us. But yes, red line is wonderful.
All right. Well, maybe I will learn the wonders of red line next week, or we'll see what opinion I have of it next week, assuming I remember to actually play it.
Well, I think if we. Oh, you don't probably want to run a lore master with a lore master, do ya?
Well, the thing is, though, is my lore master is level 150.
Yes. And you have a lower level lore master, right?
You mean the level 75 one that's on a different server?
Oh. And never mind then. Um. Okay, so we're gonna rope Krister into this. He's not here to defend himself, so he's just getting roped in. Um, we're gonna roll lore masters and we're gonna run redline. That's what we're gonna do this week.
Okay, we'll see if we can get him in. So we're going to be testing out low level lore masters in Redline then.
Oh yeah, because the fire skills they get better as you go, but
Yeah.
like when you start out, they've still pack a punch. So I'm gonna say that we're gonna start without terrifying you, And then as we get further in, it'll like gradually ease you into the whole burn the world down phase. And it won't be as much of a shock.
Well, be the shock is having to figure out so how do pets work in red line?
They work the same way, right? Like they
Not,
a pet is still a pet. Like it's gonna do the same things,
yeah, but they're not going to
basically.
stay. Yeah, but they don't stay summoned anymore for red line.
Well, then we'll get better at summoning them.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna pitch one more thing that I think Standing Stone Games should give us, specifically for Redline Lore Master. We need Fire Grim pets.
Oh.
Like it doesn't even need to do anything like particularly special compared to the other pets. But like if it just buffed the fire skills or debuffed an enemy, like that would be all it'd have to do. It would look cool.
Hey, doesn't it? Actually, I'm wondering is if it could just be a new skin for a raven. Because don't the ravens do stuff with fire
Uh
or
I know they used to. I don't know if they still do.
no, that's right. That's right. They
Um
might used to do it. Yeah, you're right.
and
They
they do
used to
have a
do it.
raven that is like has red streaks through it, and so does the eagle. You can get the flaming ones. That so they look a little bit fiery, but I still think having like a fumarole or something along with you, that would be like top tier.
Oh, yeah. Actually, it's the. Oh, okay. It's right. It's the eagles that now do the fire damage on the major skill.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I can do? I can have M make us some little pet tokens that we can use.
Oh,
Because I think she has the stuff to make those.
oh, okay. Actually, yes. The minor pet thing in Redline is for eagles is tears up burning embers over time. So therefore, yeah, if you just have a skin for the eagle that's a fire grim, I think it'll work.
Or it could turn it into like a phoenix.
Or into a phoenix.
Where
Yeah,
like it
that's an
executes its skill and explodes, but then automatically regenerates. Just like poof.
well, it doesn't have to automatic regen because since the pets are temporary anyway for
Right?
Redline.
See, that would be great. Like it executes its skill, it goes up in flames, and then you can resummon it just like a phoenix. And when it summons, it looks like it's coming out of ashes. Well, you know how like if you summon a bear or a cat or whatever, it like runs in from the side. Like if it
Right.
would just come out of the ashes and just whoosh up next to you, I think that'd be cool.
Oh, I'm sure someone at Sandstone Games is taking notes, right?
If they're not, they should be.
Oh, Sam in is a Sam was talking about aggressive stats. Is only time I don't miss aggressive stats is when I am in comb. They always try killing all the chickens. Oh, poor chickens. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So yeah, that's right. Because whenever you're in an instance, aggressive stance was really really nice to have around. But yeah, I have a feeling things like them killing chickens is probably why it got removed. All right, so that'll be next week then. So let's head into our weekend gaming. Cinders, what were you up to?
So I finished the interlude quests on M with your Runekeeper in Lotro, and I don't know if I have gone on record saying this before, but I will go on record saying it now. Belandor is my favorite of the Kindred. And I really enjoyed his storyline in particular, and I'm looking forward to the continuation of the story. Um, I liked the other interlude chapter things, but I really like how they put Belandor's story together just from start to finish there, and I like that you can really see the growth in his character. Um, So I am looking forward to seeing how that continues to play out. Um, I played
Okay.
I played some Dinkum. I now have a tuck box on my island and some cool new
Yay!
gadgets, including a kettle that will cook up all of my jams and stuff more quickly. And then I did some mining with Sands, and because we were having some troubles with Steam, Pilot and I did some parallel play where we just hung out in voice chat and played until everything was working and he could come to my island. And then today we continued some work leveling cinders. But than having to respec her, which is always a little bit inconvenient at the beginning of a session, um, it's been pretty good. So, yeah, that was my week in Lotro. How was yours, Pine?
All right. Yes. We'll begin with my warden who searched for more birds all throughout Eriador in there, and I'm making pretty good progress in the Misty Mountains in there, where I've have only a couple more birds to find over there. I've even already found the rarest bird there. And on Friday Night Fight, we ran skirmishes, quite a number of skirmishes in there with 5. And then when 2 had to leave, then we decided, all right, we had 3 people, so we did the warg pens because it's been a few years since I've done the warg pens, and every time I do the warg pens, that I had forgotten what the instances like from the previous time before. Other than of course we will run into wargs. And then on my lore masters, I tried to learn the revised version of the class in there. So I ran several skirmishes, and as I mentioned earlier, I ran the Isle of Storms. And the lore master just seems to be a class where I'm actually able to finish this instance, which is probably more like I say on most other classes that I've played it with. And my youngest warden, the one that's on Angmar, headed over into the store veils. I'm not quite yet to the level where I'm going to be running into those raids, but pretty soon, I suspect next week, I'll be reporting my first encounter with one of those nasties. And that is my week in Lotro. If you would like to send us an email, you could send it to podcast@lotrplayers.com. The Players Alliance has 2 shows. On Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we record Lotra Players News and we record DDO Players News when Drac is available. You can choose our shows at lotrplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. Then this is 5 Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.